So the need is to make missile defense even cheaper, to get more bang for the dollar in defense. It can be done. I think the technology is making weapons cheaper and cheaper, and it makes life easier for the aggressor, but also to the defender. It's a missile that 20 years ago would cost about $1 million or $1.5 million a piece in mass production. Today it costs less than $100,000, much less than $100,000.
Hey everyone, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to a special edition of The Watchman. We've told you many times here about Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system and how it's been an absolute game changer for Israel's national security. Well, I had the chance to sit down recently with the man who's been called the father of Israel's missile defense program. Uzi Rubin was the founder and first director of the Israel Missile Defense Organization from 1991 to 1999. And as you might imagine, he knows a few things about Iron Dome. I caught up with him in Jerusalem to learn more about Israel's first line of defense against Iran's ring of fire. Take a look. How Iron Dome works. It's a smart system, I guess you would say. Could you explain a little bit more how it actually works to target those incoming missiles and rockets?
Well, it has sensors, mainly radars, but not only radars, that can see the rockets as soon as they appear, designate them, calculate the trajectory and see where it's going to fall, reject those that are going to fall because of statistical reasons or the wind is spreading them out in unimportant undefended assets, and focus on those that come, assign interceptor missile to each one. It is assigned before it leaves the launcher. And then fire at the right moment, fire the missile, fire the interceptor, and then of course it's guided on the way and meets the target, explodes, and makes the warhead of the target missile explode too. More than 90%, 90 to more than 90%.
That's an amazing success rate.
Yes.
You saw this coming. I mean, for well over a decade previous, you were saying, look, we need a robust missile defense system. Tell us now, Dr. Rubin, the strength of Hamas and Hezbollah when it comes to those rocket and missile arsenals. Hamas is one thing, but Hezbollah seems like another level of danger.
They're reputed to have about stockpile of about 150,000 rockets, which is an amazing stockpile. I don't think any country in the world, any regular government in the world, has a stockpile of so many rockets.
One of the most well-armed forces in the entire region, I would think.
In this particular kind of weapon, they have to hide the critical path in their production line. If they don't hide it, we destroy it.
It seems like the Iranian regime, the head of the snake in Tehran, has a grand strategy to surround Israel with a ring of fire.
So their public policy now is not to smuggle weapons, just to smuggle materials, key materials and components, but to educate their proxies to make their own weapons. The Houthis are already making their own UAVs. The UAVs were designed in Iran. They design them, they test them, they fly them, and then they give the blueprint to the local industry. In the case of Hamas, it's even more complicated. What they do, they take piping that they are imported legally and use it as rocket bodies. And
all that international.
With this know-how and with some key facilities that they smuggled in, they gave them the opportunity to build a rocket industry of their own. Now, actually, they don't smuggle anything. They mostly what they do, rockets they do, are based on materials bought legally from Israel.
Very interesting. The strategy seems to be, in the next war, to overwhelm Israel on multiple fronts. We had obviously a single front war here in Gaza. Hezbollah did not get involved. How does Iron Dome, David's Sling, the Arrow missile defense system, a multi-tiered system which Israel has, how does it contend with rockets coming from several different directions, north, south, from Gaza, from Lebanon?
No technical.
Can it be overwhelmed?
Every system can be overwhelmed. There is no system that cannot be overwhelmed. It's a matter of number.
Right.
And as you say, this is a race. You have to be at least half a step ahead of the game all the time. So our missile shield is not completed. It's still being built. Notice that now Iron Dome is shooting down UAVs too.
Yes. And Iron Dome is deployed at sea as well now.
It's deployed at sea. It shoots down UAVs.
Yeah. For an American audience, as we wrap up, the U.S. has been involved in funding Iron Dome. How important has the U.S. relationship been in terms of missile defense for Israel? And what can the U.S. and other countries learn? This is a threat not just for Israel. This is a threat for democracies everywhere, this increase in missiles, rockets, and drones coming from rogue regimes and terror groups.
Not just rogue regime. Look at Eastern-type armies. The Russian army and the Chinese army. They have strong components of tactical missiles. My opinion about the future of warfare is going to be positional firefights instead of war of movement. And the key to that are UAVs and missiles.
They hit their mark, they're precision guided.
Yes, you don't have to fire a salvo of rockets. You can fire only one in order to take out an infrastructure. So the need is to make missile defense even cheaper, to get more bang for the dollar in defense. It can be done. I think the technology is making weapons cheaper and cheaper, and it makes life easier for the aggressor, but also to the defender. It's a missile that 20 years ago would cost about $1 million or $1.5 million a piece in mass production. Today it costs less than $100,000, much less than $100,000. Because the direction of technology is making cheap television, cheap passenger cars, and
cheap missile defense.
And cheap missiles.
Yeah.
Cheap missiles and cheap missile defense.
Now, that clip with Uzi Rubin was from our Watchman TV show. If you like the newscast, you will love our weekly TV show on TBN, airing every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time and Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Check it out. Thanks so much for joining us here on The Watchman. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new Watchman newscast episodes every weekday.